Hey, have you ever felt like you're losing someone you love to beliefs that just don't make sense? I mean, like you're standing there watching them disappear into a world of conspiracy theories or misinformation, and no matter what you say, it feels like they're slipping further away. I've been there, and it's frustrating, right? But hey, I'm Steve, retired search and rescue pilot, call sign Fire Demon. Today, I want to talk to you about why people get sucked into these extreme beliefs. Whether it's conspiracies, medical science denial, or political ideologies, it doesn't matter. And here's what you can really do to help. All right, let's break it down. Our brains love shortcuts. Cognitive bias. If you want to get fancy, one of the biggest is confirmation bias, when we only pay attention to stuff that fits what we already believe. That's why once someone gets sucked into a belief, their brain gives them a little dopamine hit every time they hear something that reinforces it. It's like a reward for staying in their lane. I mean, who doesn't like a little brain candy, right? Well, then there's also oxytocin, the bonding hormone. People feel a sense of belonging when they're part of a group, whether it's online, in person, or in some deep Reddit thread. That connection can be so strong that walking away from the belief feels like losing part of their identity. Yeah, I know how tough it is. I've had conversations where I completely disagree with someone, but I try to stay calm and keep the door open. But I'll be honest, sometimes it's just overwhelming. People throw rapid fire claims at you like, what about this? Or what about that? And you barely have time to process one before they've hit you with another. Yeah, I had a contractor actually help build this structure here who thought the earth was flat, and he tried to convince me it was. I love researching, but he didn't give me a chance to respond point by point. It wasn't about dialogue. It was more like he wanted to overwhelm me into agreeing. Yeah, fun times. Now, if you think I'm making any sense here and you want to learn more, hit the damn subscribe button, like the video, and ring the notification bell so we can keep hanging out and learning together. These are tough conversations, but the more we share, the better we'll all get at handling them. People latch onto these beliefs because it gives them control. When the world feels chaotic, conspiracy theories or extreme political ideas offer simple answers, and honestly, that's what's comforting to the brain. Even if it's wrong, it feels good to have a clear explanation, right? So let's talk about echo chambers. People only hear opinions that match their beliefs, especially on social media, where algorithms are designed to keep feeding us the same crap. It's like being stuck in a loop that gets tighter the more you engage. But here's the thing. This is nothing new. Throughout history, people have always grouped around ideas that reinforce their identities. The difference today is just how easy it is to spread these ideas. Social media and 24-hour news have made these echo chambers accessible to everyone, and the impact is hitting more people faster. And let's be real, there's also a lot of tribalism. It's not just about having an opinion anymore. It's also about showing your allegiance, whether it's flying that big flag or buying all the merch or putting those nasty bumper stickers on your car. It's a way to signal where you stand. You might notice that a lot of symbols, whether it's, those bumper stickers or social media comments, are more about anger than about love or hope. It's like people are building walls with their beliefs, making it harder for anyone with a different point of view to reach them. Psychologists suggest that when people feel threatened, they get defensive. It becomes us versus them, and they double down using aggression as a way to protect what feels like an attack on their identity. So, how do we break the cycle? Well, it's not easy, but there are some steps you can take. Steps grounded in reality, not just platitudes. When someone is deep into a conspiracy theory, medical science denial, or any kind of belief system, it's tempting to think you can argue them out with facts. But the truth is that rarely works. Instead of confronting them with cold, hard evidence, we need to approach them with empathetic engagement. Here's what you can really do to help, whether they're caught up in a political ideology, a conspiracy, or something more cult-like. You can ask open-ended questions. Instead of saying, you know what, you're an idiot, you're wrong. Try asking, hey, what first made you believe that? Or how do you handle information that doesn't fit with what you've heard? These kinds of questions give them space to reflect on their beliefs rather than putting them on the defensive. It's about encouraging them to think critically, but in a way that doesn't make them feel attacked. You can try to keep the relationship strong. One of the best things you can do is simply maintain the relationship. People leave cults, conspiracy beliefs, and extreme ideologies, not because of facts, but because they feel a loss of connection to the group. By staying connected without judgment, you provide them with a lifeline back to reality. This doesn't mean agreeing with them, but it does mean listening, keeping the lines of communication open, and offering them a sense of belonging outside of the belief system they've wrapped themselves up into. You can also introduce them to different communities. If you're open to it, gently guide them towards other social groups or hobbies that don't revolve around the extreme beliefs. I've seen the power of this firsthand. In my motorcycle riding days, the riders of all beliefs and backgrounds came together each week to have fun and share stories over a common bond. It might not have been about changing any minds about politics or conspiracies, but it did remind us all that people are basically good, and life isn't about melting down all the time. People are more likely to shift their thinking when they feel accepted by a new community that doesn't demand extreme beliefs. By getting them involved in something new, whether it's a hobby or a group or a community event, you can help pull them away from the echo chambers they're stuck in. And be patient and don't expect quick results. Whether it's a cult, a conspiracy theory, or a rigid belief system, change doesn't happen overnight. You might feel like nothing's changing, but if you stay engaged, you're planting seeds of doubt. Change happens slowly, and it often doesn't come from one conversation or one fact. The key is to give them time, let them process, and be ready to support them when they start questioning things on their own. And trust me, I know how hard this is. I've been in conversations where I completely disagree with someone I care about, and I can feel myself getting tense, stressed, and angry by what they're saying in those moments. I stop and ask myself, why am I feeling this way? It's a clue that something bigger is happening here, not just between me and the other person, but inside my own mind. That emotional reaction is a sign that my own brain is getting caught in the fight or flight response. I've learned that if I feel tense or angry, it's time to take a step back and breathe. That way I can approach the conversation with more empathy, not just for them, but for myself too. If you've ever felt the same way, if someone's statements made you tense up or feel frustrated, maybe it's a clue for you too. It's a moment to pause and recognize that your body is reacting because these conversations are triggering deep emotions and even instincts. And remember, this applies to anyone who is trapped deep in any belief system, whether it's a cult, a conspiracy theory, or some form of blind belief. The tactics of maintaining connection, patience, and empathy are universal. These conversations can be draining and difficult, but sometimes staying calm and engaged feels like the only way to keep them connected to us, and maybe, just maybe, help them find their way back. But when things get heated or they start getting mean, well, that's tough. We all have our limits. It can be hard to hold on to empathy when the conversation turns ugly. And sometimes the best thing you can do is take a step back, regroup, and try again another day. I know how painful it is to watch someone you care about get pulled into those conspiracy theories, cults, and extreme beliefs, especially when it starts to tear families apart. And I know the frustration of encouraging critical thinking only to be met with responses like, why would I do that? Why would I search for facts? Well, but understanding how the brain chemistry, social bonds, and fear all play into this helps approach these conversations with a little bit more empathy. Sometimes it feels like we need an intervention to rescue them, but the best we can do is keep the conversations open, ask questions, show patience, and most importantly, stay connected. You never know when a small seed of doubt or reflection might lead them to start thinking critically again. But at the end of the day, the truth is the only thing we really have control over is ourselves. If we want to be true critical thinkers, we need to ask our own questions and do our own research and seek the truth rather than relying on anyone else to give it to us. And that's why I've included an entire reference guide in the video description, so you can verify the facts for yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Dig in, challenge what you hear, and see what stands up to scrutiny. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay compassionate, and remember, we're all responsible for our own understanding of the world. Hey, I've got these videos over here to watch if you're interested in learning more or feel stuck in difficult conversations. And I'll see you next time. Until then, see ya!